special you guys are.
Yeah. Welcome to Inkhouse Radio. I'm Joseph Jambardina, joined today by Jonesy and Diego. What's up, gents?
Did you get a haircut?
I mean, maybe a week and a half ago.
No, I think he just did his hair this morning because you got
Yeah,
like
like he's fucking with his hair. Like
no, I didn't do my hair this morning. It's greasy.
Oh, that's why it looks different.
It's hot. You know, it's hot and it's a little humid here.
Yeah, I was there yesterday. It was like 95 degrees. It was insane.
Wait, you were here yesterday?
Yeah, I told you I was coming to Colorado.
You fucking didn't? Or I forgot. One of the two.
Yeah, you 100% forgot. I said I was coming to Colorado
Why
Springs.
didn't you text me when you were here?
I was in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, why didn't you text me when you were here?
Because I didn't want to. Remember, huh?
Speaking of which, Jammer, where are you in Colorado?
He's in Denver Metro.
Yeah,
Denver.
Yeah. Where the fuck are you? Are you here?
I'll be there next week. Yeah.
Where?
Denver proper, Denver downtown. From
hell yeah.
Tuesday to Thursday.
What are you doing here?
I got work.
Where are you going to be staying / working out of?
The Sheraton in downtown.
Oh, nice.
Oh, let me look this up. Our office is downtown.
Yeah, I was there for like half a second. I didn't think.
I don't believe you. I think you were there for 5 weeks.
No, I was there. I got in Wednesday night. Went to a wedding in the afternoon on Thursday, and then flew out at noon on Friday.
I'm hearing excuses.
One on
Excuses.
So I was like,
have you been to Denver before, Diego?
Yeah, like way back in the day.
Do you know where the Union Station is?
Is that where your office is?
It's by Union Station, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we should definitely find a time to like meet up and have lunch or dinner or coffee or something.
Sure.
Anyway, welcome to the show where we talk
Jonesy.
about animation.
Travel
just
plans.
like I miss Jonesy.
No, travel plans.
Yeah.
You should have come the week following, because the week following is FanX Denver.
Ooh.
Which, by the way, everyone, if you want to check out FanX Denver, Mahia Books, my publishing company, will be there.
Oh, speaking of travel, so we were talking about running.
I'm in the middle of a plug, Jonesy.
I'm sorry, you're doing a plug.
Dear
Sorry.
God.
You said
That's fine. Go
you
ahead.
said it. You were like FanX, Mahia Books. What was the thing? What did I mess up? I heard you. They heard you.
I was actively talking. I was actively speaking when you decided your thing was more important.
I'm speaking.
Okay.
See,
You're
that's
up.
why you won't
Go.
get elected. I was just saying, speaking of travel plans, we were talking about running. So I just signed up for the Army 10 miler if you want to do that.
Oh, fuck. When is that?
October 12th in D.C.
I'll make a note so that I can...
No, that's a plug.
10 miles.
October 10th, you said?
12. See, you got the distance confused with the date. It's 10 miles on 12 October.
I will see what my calendar looks like. I got a big ass calendar downstairs.
Yeah.
That I use. It's actually called the Big Ass Calendar, and it like takes up. It's like 6 feet wide and 4 feet tall.
You should wait. It was sold as the Big Ass Calendar.
Yeah.
Damn. I was gonna say you should market that. That'd be cool.
No. It already is actively being marketed
big
as the Big Ass
calendar.
Calendar.
Yeah, the back. Go get myself a back. Anyway.
Yeah.
What are we
But
talking
anyway,
about today, Jammin?
We're talking about all sorts of stuff. Talk about a little bit of news. Talk a little bit of Pixar's new film, Elio. I also know that you want to talk about the new Predator animated series, which I've heard amazing things about. Excited to hear about that.
Why do you say like you want to talk about, like, as opposed to
I haven't,
this is the thing?
I haven't
no,
seen it.
As opposed to the thing that we agreed to talk about last week before
The
you
thing
ditched
is,
us.
here's what
and
it
then
comes
you're like,
down.
but then you're like, we're going to talk about Elio. None of
In
us
my
have seen
defense,
Elio
in
except
my-
for you.
You said
Yes.
we could talk about Elio. You specifically said we could talk
I
about
said,
Elio.
yeah, we could talk about it. You also said we could talk about Predator.
Okay, here's the thing, though. Diego hasn't seen either, so
Yeah.
that's our get out of jail free card.
What?
Because none of us are prepared.
I'm always prepared. I was in Colorado. There was no chance I was going to see it.
Can't believe you were still here.
Wait, Jonesy, did you watch The Predator?
Yeah,
Okay. Did
I
you
watched
watch
it
it,
weeks
Jammer?
ago. Weeks ago.
No.
Oh.
You guys suck.
So here's the thing, Jonesy, that you need to remember. You say we should do this for the show. It's like, okay, cool. We didn't set a date. We have to set a date for when the
No.
thing is like we should do
No,
this
no,
for.
we did, and then you said, "Oh, I forgot. I'm not going to be here this weekend." That's what happened. You were like,
No,
"How
but I don't
long
think
is
we
it?"
ever I don't think we ever specified that.
Yeah,
No, because
well,
Diego didn't even know about it.
yeah, it's there. He's like, "I haven't seen it yet." There's a whole conversation. That's why Discord exists. Like, you can go back up.
It's there.
You were like, "How
I
long
do
is
agree
it?"
that it exists.
Yeah, he's like, "How?" You're like, "How long is it?" And I sent you the John.
No,
Oliver. Google it.
I agree.
Google it. Google it.
I agree that this is what is this show? I agree that you said we should watch this show.
When I suggest topics,
we did not,
it's
hold on,
for the upcoming week. Typically, what's my rhythm? My rhythm is, hey, we should talk about this. It's not on a big ass calendar where I'm suggesting stuff far into the future.
I think in terms of big ass calendars,
no,
because
and I think minute to minute,
chronically slow is what I am.
I'm
you should
always
know
the
this about me.
I'm always the near fight guy. I'm like, hey, let's talk about this. You're like, all right, because it had just come out. It was going to be for that following week, and then you were like, oh, I forgot. I got a family thing. Like, all right, that's cool, babe.
It sounded like you were like, "What's my tempo?"
It actually
By the
wasn't
way,
a
when you
family
said that.
thing. It was a show. Or it was an event,
Oh,
a book event. Anyway,
let's talk about your news. Your alleged news.
My alleged news.
Your alleged news.
Well,
Let's see how newsy it is.
Well, before we talk about the news, I do want to talk about one of us has been on a bit of a journey, and I want to talk a little bit about that journey that one of us has been on. I'm looking at you, Jonesy.
I don't know what you're talking.
You've been on a bit of a journey recently.
Oh, you want to do a check-in?
I want to do a check-in.
We're going to do an old school check-in. I love it.
Yes. So because several weeks ago, you're just like, yeah, I wasn't feeling One Piece, so I stopped. And I'm like, you were feeling One Piece. It's like you forgot that you liked it over time. And then I was like, just give it a little bit. Give it till this arc or whatever. And you're just like, ugh, stupid. And I understand that is
I didn't
a
say
frustrating
stupid.
note.
You were like, you just said keep reading.
Yeah, that is a frustrating note. I will say, I agree.
Keep
That is a
reading.
frustrating note because you're just like, how long does this shit take until it's good?
Hey, Jammer,
And
you gonna watch the Clone Wars?
never.
You gotta keep watching.
I've watched 8 episodes of the Clone Wars.
You gotta push past second season.
Do I really?
Keep watching.
Do I actually have to?
Yeah. I mean, I'm serious,
legitimately?
but that is the consistent Clone Wars note. Like, you got to get past season 2.
Okay. I'm not going to do that.
I'm just saying.
I'm not going to do that.
That's the note. That's the One Piece note as well. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's fair. So before you had left off, I think at the tail end of Drum Island or at the beginning of Drum Island. I don't know if you finished it before, but then you just picked it up. You picked it up recently, and you started diving back in, and now you're
back in East Blue,
ankle deep. You're ankle deep into Skypiea. So
yes,
obviously, there's been a bit of covered in between there, namely the Alabasta saga or the Alabasta arc specifically. So, how has it been? How has the journey been for you, and how are you feeling about One Piece at this point?
So I'm locked in. I got to a point. I think Skypiea was the one that did it. I sent you guys the video, and it's one of those things where just like a perfect storm. Not a video. I sent you a screenshot of the merry-go going up the water, going into Skypiea. But what was playing was, what was it? There was, I can't remember what. Oh, it was
How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, so the flight music from that and it was like, oh my God, this is like such a moment. And I was really into it. I was feeling it. But I will say that I think Alabasta was better than the Drum Island stuff. Or anything, at least in my opinion, that came before it. I enjoyed it a lot more. The characterizations were coming out a little bit more. The story, the thing that they were there to do was more interesting than anything that they had done before, with the exception of, like, I think Nami's arc, when you first meet her, is still probably one of my favorite aspects of what I've read so far. The why she was doing what she was doing. But everything that was happening in Alabasta and the overarching story I thought was fantastic, and so that got me locked in. And so I think I've pushed to like I'm at about chapter 250 now.
What's happening now currently?
They got to. I'm gonna screw this up. So there's the place they had just beat up the. I was gonna say the white soldiers, like, but aren't they? Isn't that what they're called? What? Who are the soldiers? There are soldiers.
The cloud soldiers.
Cloud soldiers. Yeah.
What are those
Oh,
called?
because they
What
made
are they
it to
called?
Sky Island.
White Sea. White Sea. White.
What are they called?
Soldiers.
Anyway.
The Enel people.
So they have a specific name.
Yeah, it's the ones with the clouds on their pants.
On their pants.
The God's guards.
Skypians.
Yeah,
No,
but
but
that's all
specifically
of them,
the soldiers.
Yeah.
The soldiers.
So they just had
isn't
a
it
fight with them.
God's guards.
Yeah, the God's
Yeah.
guards. Yeah.
So
Okay.
the nomenclature is going to be slightly different because he's reading Viz, which is
right, it's a little bit different.
Viz has been interesting because, and you were a bit confused by this too. I think it's point clarifying. When they first published One Piece in America for the first 4 volumes, they retained a lot of the spirit of the manga itself. They kept it pretty
One for one.
faithful,
Yeah.
including the use of Zoro as opposed to Zolo.
Which is
but then,
weird because that does come up in this arc specifically where you have both. There is his wanted poster that says Zoro, and then they call him Zolo. I'm like, that's weird.
they didn't change it. They didn't change the art.
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's surprising.
I'll see if I can find it.
But then, 4Kids, which has tainted the brand in the U.S., changed it to Zolo. Because
they
I
had.
assume they had changed it in their dub.
Yeah.
So then Viz, in an effort to be consistent across mediums, changed it to Zolo. So volumes 5 on is Zolo, and then reprints of 1 through 4. They are reprints of 1 through 4 are now updated. There you go. I got there. So yeah, that's kind of the reason, and that more 4Kids-esque mindset I think holds true through Skypiea, maybe up until around Water 7. If I recall, Water 7, which is the saga after Skypiea, things start to realign a bit more and things tend to be more consistent. Yeah, they're still beholden to like the mistakes they made early on, but it's pretty faithful going forward. Would you agree that's about right, Diego, in terms of the timeline?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, right now, the only thing that I find with the Shonen Jump official release is the Zolo thing, and that's it.
Yeah.
Everything else, because they still call him that right now. In the manga,
we all just glaze over it in our minds.
I glaze over it.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
I notice it every time.
I know it's there, but it's just constantly coming up. But one of the things I will say is that Funimation picked it up, and they done a fantastic, phenomenal job with the dub ever since they picked it up.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Funimation dub's great. But it's funny. You talked about wanting to revisit moments in Alabasta and not liking the anime because the animation is shit.
Oh, it's
which
bad.
is it's bad.
It's real bad.
And then
actually,
Diego Diego recommended the movie, and I was like, the movie is shit. But the movie, that was the first. Well, I don't know if it was the first because they did a little bit of the Skypiea dub first, but then they went into a movie after that. And the movie was like our first real look at like the dub on a deeper level. So even though like I hated the movie, I was like I watched it on review because I wanted to kind of have an idea of how they were going to approach the dub. So
the
I'm very
movie
familiar with
is
how shitty
just
that
the
movie is.
Alabasta saga.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
In
Yeah,
90
basically
minutes.
they try. I mean, that's why the movie sucks, and that's the problem with it. But animation wise,
It's
they
fine.
used the modern day-ish animation for that, which was
For the
around
time.
It was Water 7 animation.
It's around
type.
2010.
Yeah, it's
on Crunchyroll.
I believe so.
It might
should
be on Netflix, to be honest.
I am watching that this weekend.
Yeah, it should be on. It is on Netflix for sure, but I think it's also on Crunchyroll.
Because I'll tell you this, I didn't do the thing that I was going to do because the thing that was getting me excited was what I was seeing in my head. for some of the fights. So like Zoro versus the guy.
Mr. One,
Mr.
Das
One.
Bones.
Yes.
Mr. One, Das Bones.
Yes. One
Yeah.
Das Bones. I just called him Wolverine. That's
Yeah.
what? Why are you making that face? That's
His
Anyway.
arm. Wolverine doesn't have his arm turned into a sword.
yeah, whatever. Weapon one. So I thought that was. I wanted to see that fight because there were scenes from the comic book that just looked amazing in there, and so what I stopped at was Sanji versus
Mr. Two.
yeah,
Bon Clay.
which was funny, but like I was like, if this is indicative of what I'm going to get in the Zoro fight, like I don't want to watch it. So, but that said, I still wanted to get. I think it would still be worth it to watch the movie because the fight with Mister Two, like the way that culminates, like at the end of the saga, was like, oh, I'm kind of.
I'm gonna tell you,
like,
the movie's gonna let you down. I'm gonna tell you that right now with regards to that.
that's
The fight.
That's
Sorry.
Oh,
Well, I
with
mean,
the fight?
animation wise, that's the thing. You'll get an animation. It'll be like it'll be significantly reduced from like what you're used to, but animation wise, it'll look better.
Yeah.
That's why there's a lot of people that it's like One Piece at this point has been going on for, at least the animation has been going on for 25 years.
Yeah.
We just celebrated the 25th anniversary recently, and so there was the whole plan.
Hey, we're a big part of this fandom, sir. You don't even
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's funny.
You don't know.
Jammer
Do you
and
know
I-
who you're talking to? Do you know who you're talking
You're
to?
the One Piece
Jonesy?
podcast folks. I know exactly who you are.
Yeah, I was like Jammer and I were One Piece podcast West for a while. Like we were doing the unofficial One Piece podcast, and that's how we actually met. And as of now, I mean, like I play the One Piece card game competitively. Like right
Yeah.
now, I'm building my fucking Shank stick right here.
Nice.
Jonesy, I'm in
Yeah.
the One Piece anime, sir,
Yeah, he is.
as a voice.
He is in there as a
So-
voice. I got to miss out on that. That was fucking great that you guys did that.
It was
I
pretty
got
cool.
to miss out on that.
Anyway,
But yeah, so we're pretty. I mean, obviously, we're pretty big in that in that fandom. So, but what I was gonna say was 25. One of the announcements that they made not that long ago was for sort of a re-release of the whole entire series.
Oh, really?
They're gonna call it The One Piece, and it's gonna be animated by the studio that did
Wow.
Spy
Studio
X
Wit.
Family. Yeah, Studio Wit.
So then the question is, so there's some filler that I noticed in
Correct.
the
And
anime. Is
this
that coming
one
out?
will not have any of that.
So it's One
that's the
Piece
whole plan.
Brotherhood, is what you're telling me.
Exactly, but it's going to be upgraded animation,
When?
modern day animation.
When?
maybe starting this year. I think this
I'm
year or
gonna watch
next year.
that. I'm gonna watch
Yeah,
that.
they announced it a while back last year at AX.
Let me look
so
it
what
up
I'm
right
hearing
now.
is we just
AX
need to
is
turn this
coming up
into a One Piece podcast.
this
That's what
year.
I'm gleaning. This is just what's gonna happen now.
No, we don't have to. We already. I don't. I
But
mean,
we're
that's one of the
going
things. Like,
to.
I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I don't feel like I love talking about it. I love talking about the show, but I like talking about the other stuff too, like the
I'm
story
joking.
that I posted about for the news
Yeah,
about the Mexican
Okay.
studio for animation.
I'm not being
I know you
serious.
guys saw that.
Yeah, you
Okay.
should just, Jammer, tell him, Jammer.
Tell
I
me
don't mean
what?
No, tell Diego. I don't mean it. I'm just kidding.
He doesn't mean it. I don't even know what the fuck
Okay.
you're talking about, Jonesy. Because I was too busy looking for the release date of the Studio Wit anime.
So while you're looking for that, what I will say is like one of the things that kept me in was, so as the characterizations come out, the humor lands for me a little bit better. Like I was not the biggest fan of Usopp, but like some of the interactions that are with him and other folks are working better now. So like there's a scene in Skypiea.
Can you get closer to the camera? You're like out of focus.
Am I?
Oh, there you go.
There
You're
it
good
is.
Oh, okay. There's a scene in Skypiea where Sanji calls him a big coward or something like that. And then, because he said, oh, won't you protect me too? And he said, no, you fucking fend for yourself. And he sees a spider on Nami's back. And he's like, oh, that's cool, Nami. Where'd you get that? And she's like, what? And she starts screaming at the spider. And the next scene, Usopp's like holding the spider. And Sanji's freaking out. And he's like, what? And they're like, oh my God. And he's like, oh, so those bugs over there, those don't bother you either. And they just start screaming. Like just the sequence of events is pretty funny. I don't know.
I think
I'm enjoying
Jaya is an underrated arc. It's like a small arc, but
Mm-hmm.
I love it so much. Like that confrontation with Bellamy before, like that initial confrontation where they both get like
Beat
laughed
up.
at and wrecked, beat up.
So here's a question.
I love.
Why did he not fight them? Am I missing? Does that come
Not
later?
worth his time. Not worth his time. He's like, this is a guy who clearly doesn't share the same values as me. He's
Okay.
not worth it because he doesn't stand for anything. He doesn't believe in anything. Not worth the sweat off my back.
Okay. I love that
It's sort
scene
of
'cause
a
Nami.
parallel. It's supposed to be a
Go ahead.
parallel to the scene with Shanks in the beginning of the series.
That too.
Do you remember in the beginning where like he realizes now what it is to be an actual like pirate, where he's like, these people are literally just here to be assholes, and it's not like they're not threatening to me. I could take a beating, and then that's it. And then
So that makes sense now
that
because there is a flashback to Shanks there, and I did not connect the two.
yeah, so because when Shanks gets basically beat up by those bandits, those mountain
Ruffians.
bandits, in the beginning of the show.
The bear,
But
what is it? Kayuma,
Kuyuma the bear, yeah.
Is it? Kayuma?
But then you have that with the juxtaposition of also meeting Blackbeard
Yeah.
Teach for the first time during that particular scene too, and I thought that was a beautiful way for him to like introduce the character, have
Higuma.
them sort of be shown how opposite they are from one another, and kind of like watching like the whole aspect of it. And I mean, there's still so much mystery behind just that character alone, but regardless, that's my
character?
favorite part of Jaya for me too. Like I said, and then when he finally has to like come back and get the things that Bellamy stole, because he's
Yeah,
like, okay,
that was
now
cool.
you fuck with the wrong people, you fuck with my friends. I just fucking takes him out with one fucking punch, dude. It's fucking nutty.
Get up, man.
great.
Get up.
So
It
here's some
really reminded me of
storyboards.
Karate Kid or something like that. We're like, come
Yeah.
on, Johnny, get up. What are you doing?
Right?
Stop playing around. Like, now he's out.
So here's a storyboard from the Wit One Piece anime. So it looks fairly similar, I guess, but just like a higher
Nice little
quality
shine on it.
version.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice little shine on it. But they're expected there's expected to be more information this August on One Piece Day, but we don't know when the anime is actually coming,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Whatever. I'm gonna watch it when it comes out. I'm pretty locked in. I'm enjoying it.
Fucking told
yeah.
you.
I think all of us are gonna watch it again. I mean, because the thing is I'm always down to like introduce new people to the show, especially with faster like this. Because right now, my only avenue to get people to watch the show is the live action, and not to say the live action is not bad. I really
love the
like
live
it.
action, Jonesy. You like wrinkle your nose. I really like the live
Yeah.
action. I think it's
I love
great.
the live action is great. I think the live action
It has
does
its
such a good
issues,
job.
but I like it.
I think there are certain story beats that you do miss, obviously, from the overall arc.
They bungle some of Nami's stuff at the tail end, I think, and
agree.
some of the logic doesn't quite hold up in some of the things that they do. And there are some things where I feel like they were like, "Oh, he's bleeding everywhere." I'm like, "He's really not. You probably should have fixed that in post
You're just
or
saying
something."
the line. Yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
saying the line.
But overall, I think it does a pretty good job of covering basically 100 episodes into 8 or
50
10
episodes.
episodes.
100 chapters, 50 around 50.
Oh, sorry, around 50.
So
Wait,
it's
is it 50
crazy to
episodes is
me
one
that the movie must be
It's 50.
that bad.
It's awful. It's the worst. Wait, why is it crazy?
Because they're essentially condensing material in a similar way. You're just like, no, but that's like absolute
Well,
trash
it's 8 hours
condensation.
versus 90 minutes. That's a big difference.
Yeah. That sounds like every comic book movie I've ever
But
watched, though.
I'm
No,
looking
you need
forward to the
to
live action. I mean, I think that's also good. I just think it's the One Piece is probably going to be like the way to get people into the show. It'll be covering the basics of everything going forward.
I think that works. I agree.
Sorry, I was confused. The One Piece apparently is supposed to cover all the way up to the end of
East Blue.
East Blue.
Yeah, for now.
for now. So
Oh, they don't plan on redoing everything. This is just
Well,
no,
I
they
think that's the
are, but the initial like set of
oh, okay.
episodes is going to focus all the way from the beginning in Windmill Village all the way to when they enter the Grand Line.
Okay. How many episodes do you imagine that might be?
26 would be what I would imagine, but I don't know how realistic that is.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm not
80.
sure.
When you say
Because if it's all of
realistic,
East
more or
Blue,
less.
13 episodes would be a stretch. No pun
That's
intended.
super, dude. I feel like that's a lot, or
Yeah.
that's super like condensed, even more so.
Yeah. But I'm curious if they're going to take more liberties too from the manga, which I'm all for in terms of like the structure, kind of like the live action did, where they kind of make it their own a bit. I hope they do some of that because my biggest criticism of anime adaptations is like, let's just do the
One for
manga,
one. Yeah.
except we'll flip it for some reason.
Flip
I don't
it.
know. Sometimes they have like the same exact shot, except for some reason it's flipped. Like a character, instead of punching left, they're punching right. I don't know. I don't know.
Something to somebody.
Not to me. Not to me. Okay, so I'm glad you're
So
locked in. I'm glad you're excited. I definitely want to revisit what you have to say about that Alabasta movie, which is movie 8, after you watch it, because you seem surprised. You're like, this is going to be like every other comic book adaptation.
No, I mean, I'm half
It's
joking.
bad. It's real
joking.
bad. I think it's bad. You're going to be like, whoa, that's great.
nah, I mean it's so. I mean, I thought it was all right. I don't know that
I
it was
hated
like,
it.
oh my
So-
Movie
god, the
9 is
worst.
great. Movie 9
Here's
is
the thing.
awesome.
My expectations are tempered by you all's whining, mostly yours, Shammer. And then I have all the context, right? So it would probably bother me less, but we'll see. We can talk about it next week if you don't have another family event.
What's next week? I might actually.
It'd be
Is
July.
next
won't it?
week?
No, almost. Not quite.
Is it going to be July?
Almost.
I don't know. Oh, let me check because I'm curious now. There's no fucking way next week is.
Don't do that.
I
now. You
should
gotta
be
move
good
on to
for
the next
I
topic.
should be good for next week, but the week after I have FanX Denver, which I was getting in the middle of plugging. We're gonna have 5 books that we're gonna be selling. We're gonna have City of Mages, Canyon of Crystal, Dragon Gods, Shadow Weaver's Gambit, and Spectral. So come by, check us out. We're at AP 44.
Yay. So we've done our check-in.
Anyway.
Are we doing news?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about a news.
are we doing?
Fortiche Animation.
Ooh.
Wait, that's not right. They're not called Fortiche. They're just called Fortiche Animation, or it's called Fortiche, not Fortiche Animation. They just announced that it will be executive producing a new 2D animated series called Miss Saturn. It is in development with Art France and Les Sorigraphes. And this is actually a series that, like, from years ago, if I recall correctly, was supposed to be a feature. It was being pitched around as a feature. It didn't happen, and now it's going to be a mini series. So this comes from the co-founder of Fortiche. He says, with Miss Saturn, we found a team with perfect artistic sensibility. Luis Silverio brings her already known flair of coming-of-age stories, having worked on the award-winning series Happiness and Sukiro Roxen, I don't know, that's French. And Rathin, who worked on Arcane and music videos, fully shares our desire to explore a strong aesthetic for today's youth. This project is an opportunity for us to explore indie animation design for a new generation. And then they go on to say, Annalise Vieladent, co-producer. French is not my language. They say Miss Saturn is a unique project that, while rooted in the 80s, captures the essence of adolescence with music, with a musical and emotional intensity that crosses generations. We got a little bit in terms of, what are you laughing at?
I'm just watching the struggle. It's fun.
Yeah. French is I will not be learning French very
Maybe you should though.
No, I have other languages I want to learn. Anyways, so we have here's a little snippet here of what the art is. It's very sort of indie graphic novel style, which I really enjoy. And I don't think we really get enough of. So I'm excited to see, along with sort of like the scratchiness here, kind of mixed into sort of the polish that Fortiche brings to brought to Arcane, I guess I should say. because I don't know if there's any other example, I guess, outside of the music videos. But I know there's this, and then there's another animated project that they're working on. So it's nice to see that they're rounding out the projects that they have in the pipeline. I also hope that they have enough time to dig more into the Arcane world, and that they're not spreading themselves too thin. But overall, I'm excited. Does this appeal to either of you two?
Yeah, I'll watch it. Yeah.
Anything else you have to say, Diego?
No, I mean I like that animation. It reminds me a lot of what's that comic book or the manga from
Oh, Nana?
yeah, there you go. Nana.
Jesus, how did that happen?
What?
Mind meld. You didn't say shit.
No, but you know what I was talking about.
You know what I like, baby.
You know exactly what I was talking about from the manga. It's like literally that art style, and I love the art style. I think it's really great.
That's
It reminds.
funny.
It's very like '80s French pop. Because I remember seeing a lot of like that aesthetic. And that's something that I think is there you go, like that.
Yeah, I can see that. Nana's depressing.
It is very
I-
depressing.
I did not finish it. I'm just
Really?
like, this is just heartbreak in the making. I don't wanna watch it. Don't want to watch it. I mean, it's a pretty indie premise. It's about two women who live together and their love lives, essentially. They're both named Nana, and they both come to Tokyo. I don't remember. It's been like 15 years since I've read it. To live for different reasons. You know, they're each pursuing their different things, and one of them is like with a boyfriend, and the other one, I don't remember if she has a boyfriend. I think maybe she did at some point. One of them's more like sort of a alternative rock style goth girl. The other one's more buttoned up and prim and proper. So it's just about that dynamic. It's good, but man, it is like, it's depressing, but good. But hopefully, you know, this is going to be good in that same sort of way. What about you, Jonesy? Does this appeal to you in any way, shape, or form?
I think the excerpt we got was pretty interesting. And it's crazy to me the lead time on it. Right, this is a 10-year project, pretty much. So from 2017, it's where I think the excerpt is from, and then we're not expected to get this until 2027. I don't know too much about the story, but I think I'm more excited about the folks that are involved than I am than the actual project itself. It's one of those things where it's like, if you tell me James Gunn is directing a movie, it's like, all right, cool. If you tell me that the folks who did Arcane are doing the thing, like, all right, I'm in. Let's see what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, and this is a good segue here. Whenever there's like a Pixar movie that's announced, it's like, oh, I don't know anything about that, obviously, because it's an original project.
Yeah.
But what the minimal stuff that we got looks good, and it's Pixar, so I trust that it'll at least have a certain level of quality to it. So I'm excited for that.
You know what's funny you say that? I actually have gotten to the point where Pixar is just, it's Marvel to me. It's just a studio. Who's directing the thing, right? Like that to me, that will get me more excited for a project than just, you know, that. Like if you told me that Domishi was doing a thing, right, from Turning
Which
Red.
she did in Elio.
Right, I'm saying that.
Yeah.
I'm helping you out.
I'm just
Jesus
saying.
Christ. I'm saying, like, if you tell me like that's where we're going, then I'd be like, I'm in for that, because I think that there are people who are just really good storytellers.
Yeah.
And so she seems like one of them. So that said, would you like to do your thing?
Well, so no, not quite. We got a
Oh.
couple more things.
Well, never
One, speaking of Pixar,
You said it was a good transition. Oh,
It is a good transition.
to a Pixar
To
thing.
to a
Talking
new
about
story.
Pixar.
You're talking about Pixar. Fucking
The new
Jonesy
movie.
tripping over my
I'm trying.
segue.
I'm trying.
Pixar is returning to Italy per the deadline. A new film called Gatto by Enrico Casarosa, who is the same person who directed Luca. So, what is cool about this? Like, okay, cool. It's a cat, blah, 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 blah. I think this here, from what I understand, and I don't remember where I found this, but this is the literal art style that we're going to be getting in the movie. It's not just concept art.
Oh, that's
Like,
cool.
it is concept art, but like they're going to be like taking a note out of Sony's playbook and actually try to have like take the concept art and translate it to the screen rather than being like, well, this is kind of what we're going for, and then just turn it into a standard CG thing. So that's exciting. At least that is the impression I got, and it's not in this Deadline article, but I remember hearing or seeing that. I'm not sure if it was speculation. Did you see anything on your end, Jonesy or
It
Diego?
was on the threads on the thing you said. It's I think it's new hand painted style of animation.
Okay.
Follows a music loving cat named Nero in Venice who is rejected by locals due to superstitions. And I
Yeah.
think it's in the article maybe as well, but it's the fact that it's a hand painted style of animation.
Yeah. So that's cool. It's actually not in the article, which is what I expect. Oh, here we go. There's more articles. Sorry, there were so many ads
Yeah.
that I fucking completely didn't realize it. Blah blah. Friday's presentation footage. Blah 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 blah. Okay,
Oh,
no,
maybe
it's
it's
not in the
not.
article.
It's not
It's
in the
not.
article. Okay, interesting.
Deadline, more like dead fail. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm
Don't
not
leave me
fist
hanging.
bumping that.
Somebody.
I'm
Somebody.
not fist
Oh,
bumping
were
you
you
for
supposed to
that
laugh at
one.
that? No, you
Oh,
did
no.
not.
No, he
Okay.
wanted a fist bump.
No.
No. Okay. So yeah, that's exciting. I think the most exciting thing for me is just between Sony Pictures or Sony Animation rather and Arcane, seeing animation studios be like, oh, we could actually experiment. We could actually create concept art and then create something that looks like the concept art rather than just having it be kind of a foundation.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it competition, but competition, right? We win because, to your point, they experiment, they do different things. That's exciting.
Very exciting. How do you feel about Enrico Casarosa? Like, I actually revisit. I ask the question, then I start talking. Let me talk first, and then I'll ask the question. I recently, because Luca was never a movie that I was like liked that much, but I did revisit it recently, and it is purely a pure vibes movie. You know, you go in there, it's the story itself is like whatever, but just the vibes are very good. It is the most Ghibli esque Pixar movie ever in that it doesn't there's not much plot. The stuff happens, but it almost doesn't matter. I just kind of like to steep in the world itself and the vibes that it has, and that's kind of what it mostly has to offer. So while I'm excited for the vibes, I am interested to see what they're going to do in terms of story for this one.
So I agree. Luca was never my bag. I am more interested in this new thing that they're trying because Pixar movies, in terms of quality, they look better, but beyond that, they look kind of samey. And
Yeah.
so the idea that they are willing to take a risk and do something. So I'm looking at an article from Living Life Fearless. And one of the things they talk about is that this film uses a distinct hand painted look, reminiscent of expressive paint painterly frames. It's actually a fusion of hand drawn animation, but the part that they talk about is they said it's inspired by woodblock prints and watercolor textures. Casarosa's approach ensures every frame feels like living art, aligning his passion for Japanese aesthetics and analog textures. Just that phrasing alone of what we would get from a Pixar movie, along with whatever feels right. I like the idea, the plot of a cat that loves music. I love music, and so while I imagine that the music is not probably going to be my style, just that idea and the potential emotions that come from behind that would be something that would draw me in.
What about you, Diego?
The art style is very intriguing to me. I like the fact that they're one, which is kind of interesting that they're doing what seems to be an original story.
Yeah, I think
Even
so.
though they had come out and said that they were not going to be focusing on original stories because it was too alienating for other people.
Don't worry, there's a million sequels coming between now and then, so it's okay.
And
I
they
know
were
you were
gonna
Yeah, because I
concerned.
think
focus-
as
It's
part of
fine.
this, they also teased Toy Story 5.
Well, they already talked about that they were going to be coming out with Toy Story 5. That was already a thing. But that they're again taking a risk, which seems not like what they were going to do. Because again, fucking wild once again that their goal is that every movie that we make, any idea that we make, is going to be $1 billion idea, or it has to be $1 billion idea.
Yeah. So just to clarify, we got So the next movie that's coming out is Hoppers next year. Then a couple months later is Toy Story 5.
Mhm.
Then the next year is going to be Gato. Couple years from now is going to be Incredibles 3, and then Coco 2. So it's going to be a mix of original. So the 5 films they have announced, 3 are sequels, but 2 are original. The past
You know what's
several
weird?
years, they've been digging deep into original territory. So I think it's just about rebalancing a bit.
Yeah, it's funny because it seems like they are doing the thing that we typically know studios do, where it's like this $100 million movie is the thing that kind of pays for this original story that we're going to do. So they've got to have those $1 billion sequels so that they can take a risk on a Gato.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing that frustrates me the most is to Diego's point where they talk about, we're going to make sequels and we're going to sequels into the future, blah, blah, blah. The timing of that announcement really frustrates me because it is one that came after, Turning Red comes out and they're like, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to tell these kinds of stories. Like Turning Red was a fantastic story. And just the fact that there was a subset of critics that could not relate to it for the reasons that we all know. And then they made this announcement that seemingly capitulates to those voices really bothers me. And
Yeah.
so that's the thing that bothers me the most about it. Just the idea that we got a fantastic story. What I thought was a fantastic story
It is.
by a
I
really
agree.
good storyteller. And it's just like, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. Like, whatever. Guys.
And Elemental, which was like an immigrant story. Did you ever watch
Yeah.
Elemental?
No.
Yeah, that was
I
good
did not.
too.
Elemental
Was it
is
good?
good. Yeah, it's
Okay.
definitely worth seeing. Like, I regret not seeing it in theaters. It is a gorgeous movie.
Okay.
But yeah, it was an immigrant story. But that is a movie that did actually get success over time. Like, it started
Yeah.
off real low, and they're like, "Oh, this movie's gonna flop," and then the movie made like $580 million, which is not
Jeez.
like gangbusters, but it's like
Not a flop.
it's not a flop. It was great, and I was very happy to see that.
I
See
used to
that
have a
happen.
notebook here.
So I was wrong. It was 496.4 million, close to
No,
500.
that's a flop.
No, it's not. It's not a flop. It made money. It didn't make much money, but it
I
did
love
make
that both
money,
of you
and it
take me
had legs
seriously.
over time.
I love that both of you take me so seriously.
I just need to make sure something I've realized over time is subtext, context, and media literacy. I just see declining over time. So there was literally this post on Threads that hit off yesterday or the day before, where someone was like highlighted these 2 typos in a book and being like, this book is so good, but I don't want to DNF it, but there's so many typos that I just
Wait,
can't.
I'm sorry, I don't want to what?
Sorry, I don't want to do not finish DNF, which
Okay.
means do not finish. It's basically when you don't finish a book.
I mean, I got that part.
Yeah, I know. I'm explaining it because you asked. And the book itself, that section with the typos, could not
Please tell me that's
more
on purpose.
clearly. Yes, it is. It is in the form of a blog post, and I'm just like, media literacy is dead. Context is dead. People are just like being like, "Oh, it doesn't do exactly what I want it to do," or even if it's on purpose, it just bothers me. And I'm like, people, come on,
Yeah,
stop.
but you gotta do engagement posts, right? That is the point.
It's
of
rage
that.
bait. Rage
Yeah.
bait.
Yeah.
Yeah. My point is, what was my point?
No, not sure. What was your point?
What were we talking about? We're talking about context, media literacy. What was I
Yeah,
saying?
Yeah, we're talking about the fact that
because I was doing a joke.
the
I did a
red-
joke,
You're
and then
talking
you
about
were
Turning Red.
explaining. You were explaining my joke, and I'm like, no, I'm not serious at all. And then
Yeah.
you're like, so basically, you're calling me a rage baiter. That's
Yeah,
that's
Definitely.
how we wrapped up that story.
definitely. Diego, did you want to talk about that Mexican studio thing?
Yes, I did want to talk about that. Thank you.
Yes.
So basically, there's a studio in Mexico that is making the very first ever stop motion
Ooh.
animated film based on a short that they had done before. Um, the studio itself was actually sponsored by Guillermo del Toro. so he definitely got a little bit of endorsement from it. It looks like a really nice little film, uh, especially because it's like stop motion animated, and I love that stuff. Like I love Studio Leica,
Hmm.
Mm, yeah,
um, and this is pretty on point with that. But also the fact that this is their first ever as a country's stop motion animated movie,
that's wild.
and by all terms and purposes, like based on everything that they've done, um, they don't like this movie should never have existed because of the high costs and everything that it takes to make something like this. Um, and it's a very unique art style, as you guys can see on the screen.
Yeah.
Um,
You know what it kind of reminds me of? This is a really
what's that?
specific cut. It reminds me of the Witch World in the Madoka series.
Oh yeah, a
Mm,
little bit. Yeah, I can see that.
I need to watch
Or
that
I
one.
guess Monty, like a physical manifestation of the Monty Python animations.
There's that too.
Yeah, but overall, like what you're watching right now, it's the film as a whole, but they did that for their stop motion, but they have released a full version of the film,
Oh,
which is like I think an hour and a half or something like that. Because this film, the 2016 version, is free available on YouTube. Um, and the film that's coming out essentially
Right here, it's
is
on
I Am
screen.
Frankelda. Yeah, there it is. There's the preview.
Looks really beautiful.
Yeah,
Kind of has oh, I just realized now. I didn't realize those rigs were there.
yeah,
I was like, oh, those are going to be obviously
removed. Yeah,
removed. It still looks really good with them. I kind of want them
yeah,
to keep it. That'd be kind of cool to have a full movie with the rigs there.
yeah. Just to have it all. But yeah, I'm excited to see this. Obviously, as a fan of animation from outside of the modern norm, like this doesn't look very like again, it doesn't look cheap,
No.
which is what I feel like a lot of animation now, like studios, because again, I think we've had this talk plenty of times where it feels like art is now a financial thing. Like if it doesn't make money, then it's not going to get made, right? Or if it's
Yeah.
too expensive, it doesn't get made anymore. And
mm,
so when you have concepts like this, especially coming from a small independent studio, and you see artists that look and see it and they're like, "Oh wow, this is actually pretty good. Like we should put some investments into it." It significantly helps. And obviously, Guillermo del Toro is going to be very much involved in something like this because he is trying to do things with Mexican cinema. Back in the day, he was also very adamant about uh, Book of Life. So he's definitely very much like that. And I go to Guillermo del Toro because I think he's one of the most successful Mexican directors in the U.S. I would say.
I would say. Would you say that?
I mean,
I'm,
he would say
well,
that. Is
I'm
it
thinking of
true?
Can
I'm
you?
thinking of them, Iñárritu and
Yes,
Alfonso Cuarón is
yes. I was
another
gonna
one.
say Alfonso, but he's, I think I haven't seen much from him, but Guillermo del Toro has also done a lot of different genres. I think too.
Sure, he's definitely the most what's the word, mainstream,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely as far as the genre goes. The other two are more art, whereas this is more genre. Art is not the right word.
I was going to say. I mean, one of them did do a Harry Potter film, so I mean,
Right.
it's it
Yeah.
is art, I guess,
He
but
also
it's
did the artsiest Harry Potter film.
he did, and it's one of my favorites. I love that
Yeah.
the sort of composition of it. Um, but yeah, I so when I saw that this was coming up and it was like a thing, and I was like, wow, you know what, this is actually pretty cool. So I'm gonna keep that on my radar to watch. Because I definitely think it'll be a nice little adventure into stop motion animation, which again you don't really see many studios doing anymore.
Yeah, I think it's in today's landscape. Obviously, films have always aimed to make a profit in some capacity, but in the past in a different landscape where you had so many other a larger variety of the types of films that were in production. It was more like Moneyball, where it's like, hey, let's make a film that gets on base. Let's make a film that makes its money back and makes a little bit of profit. As opposed to now, if it's not going to make $150 million profit, then why bother? And that just makes it increasingly difficult for the riskier ones like this to get made. Like if you look back and see movies like, I don't know, Fritz the Cat get made. I don't know the funding situation behind that movie, but in no world does that get made today. That being said, I don't know where the funding for something like Hell of a Boss originally came from, you know? Obviously there's difference there, but I'm always curious about those indie YouTube ones that are clearly or what's the other one? Lackadaisy, which is
Wasn't
another
that GoFundMe or Patreon? Not Patreon.
Probably.
What's the fucking thing where people donate money for some project?
just crowdfunding in general.
Yeah.
Kickstarter.
Yeah, crowdfunding.
Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. Thank you. Yeah, Kickstarter. So I thought it was a Kickstarter initially.
Okay,
You know,
yeah, probably that then. But I
think
mean,
so.
yeah, I guess it's self-funding, I guess, is kind of where
Yeah.
it comes down to, is you really have to put in your blood, sweat, and tears by yourself without getting paid, and then build a fan base, essentially, which just makes it really, really hard to, you have to basically be a proven commodity before you're even given a chance in the mainstream system. Whereas
Right.
before, there used to be much more emphasis on being able to get a job in the industry, being mentored, and then transitioning into a leadership position over time. Like you look at what the hell's his name? I keep wanting to call him B. Dalton. What's his name?
Who?
What the
What did
Land
he do?
Before Time guy? Land Before Time guy. Land Before Time. No, that's not his name. B. Dalton is the name of an outdated bookstore. I'm trying to remember what his name is. This filmmaker. Come on, Land Before Time.
Oh, Don Bluth.
Don Bluth. There we go.
Oh my god. Okay, I was like, are you talking about?
I was
would
talking
Mind
about-
meld. Mind
I
meld.
would
I
have talked
would
about-
have not expected you to forget Don
No,
Bluth. That
it just
was
left.
so
It just left my
confused.
brain. It left my brain. It just left my brain. It was one of
I
those
thought you were
brain
talking
fart
about like
moments.
a writer or an unknown
No.
person, but I'm like Don Bluth, bro. Like,
No, because he was
Iron
able to get a
Giant.
job. He was able to get a job. He's not Iron Giant. That's Brad Bird.
oh, you're right. Fuck, sorry. Yeah, my bad. You're right.
I would
you-
not have
you
expected
just-
you to forget Brad Bird.
Yeah. Shit.
But no, you allow yourself to get into like the system first, and then become mentored, and then build yourself from there. That just isn't the thing nowadays. So it's nice to see something like this happen, where art
Yeah.
somehow takes the.
Sorry, when you were talking about the aspect of like in this day and age, movies just wouldn't get made. My mind was started like thinking about, oh yeah, Gremlins 2 would never get made in this day and age.
How come?
Yeah, why?
Gremlins 2? Have you
Yeah.
do you? Because that movie's super fucking out there and crazy, and like that sort of storyline you don't see as much anymore. You don't see goofy shit like that from studios as much.
Yeah,
I feel.
people judge it too if it's like goofy, if it doesn't take itself 100% seriously. They're just like, oh, that's stupid. Then again, Thor: Love and Thunder did come out.
Yeah, but that was
That's
also a
different.
Marvel movie.
It was, but it was also really fucking goofy. And just
Yeah.
bad. Just actively bad. There's that too.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
thought
I
it
don't
was-
know if
it
we
was
have
okay.
enough time to talk any of the show, which is fine, because we could actually wait till next week when you will have seen it, because you're going to see it tomorrow or today.
No,
Is
because
that
next
what you're planning?
well, no. So then my parents are here. They took the kids to see it last night, so I have no idea if and when I'm ever going to see it. But the other thing that happened was, what's the Korean cartoon you guys want to see about the Demon Slayers?
K-pop Demon Hunt.
That's
Oh,
out
K-pop
now.
Demon
Demon.
Slayers.
That's
Yeah,
out
that
now.
is out.
So we could talk about that next week.
Yeah,
That is
do
out.
wanna
I was
watch
gonna
it.
watch-
I was gonna watch it last night, but the curious was like, I don't feel like it. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah, I was going to. My friend watched it, and she was like, "Oh my god, I love this! This is so good! It's so
Oh, wow.
cute! I love
Okay.
the animation."
I'm purposely not looking at any reviews because I'm like, I just want to go in.
Yeah.
I want to raw dog it.
Wow. So I'll say this about Predator. I think that if you are a fan of the series, it is definitely worth watching. I think it.
You should
continues-
specify what you're talking about.
I said if you're a fan of Predator.
Okay, what are you talking about?
I'm going to get into it. I talk
Okay.
like Yoda. I walk backwards into the thing.
Okay.
So if you're a fan of the Predator series, I think that Predator Hunter Killer of Killers really does a good job of continuing, I think, the upward trajectory that Prey injected into the series. So like if you're a fan of Predator generally, and if you like Prey, then Dan Trachtenberg and his team did a good job of translating what was happening in that into this, and it expands the lore of what's happening with the Predators a little bit more. And so that was the thing that was kind of unexpected to me. I didn't watch any reviews. I didn't read anything about it. I just went into it, and I was surprised by what I got. So that's what I would say. Like, I think it's like a strong 8 out of 10.
What's the tone and style of it?
Um,
Because I haven't seen trailers. I've seen like little maybe gifs of what it is visually, but like I don't know what to expect in terms of like vibe.
what in terms of so you probably won't like this comp. So it reminds me of Love, Death, and Robots a little bit, where there are 3 different stories, but the difference will be that they converge into an overarching story at the end. So elements of Love, Death, and Robots with
I love that actually.
What's the Marvel cartoon? What If? Right, because at first when you're watching What If, you don't know that the stories are going to converge. And this, you watch a story and then it ends, and then you move on to the next story. And then at that point, you're like, oh, this is actually going somewhere different than what I expected. And it's just kind of fun to see. And I talked to Danny about it a little bit, and he had a similar criticism. I'll wait till you guys see it to
Who had a
that.
similar criticism?
Danny,
Your friend? Oh, Danny. Okay, gotcha.
friend of the show, Danny.
Friend of the show, Danny.
I will tell Danny you were like your friend. Like, yeah, my
No,
friend,
I didn't
not your
hear. I
friend.
didn't hear you say Danny. I missed Danny.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm playing this clip for him. So yeah, I think it's supremely enjoyable. The action's a lot of fun, and it makes me more excited for that Predator film that's coming out in a little bit. So it makes me wonder, like,
Do
what
you
the
like it more
timeline
than that
was.
Alien show?
Alien Earth, is that the one?
No, the animated one that we watched, or at least the one that I watched and enjoyed, and like you guys fucking shat on it.
Oh,
What alien? Wait, we watched an alien show? What alien show?
Scavenger's Reign. Scavenger's
fuck
Reign.
that.
No. I'm talking about the Alien, or sorry, Terminator. Sorry, Terminator.
Oh.
Terminator. Sorry, I was like, what's the other?
It's
franchise?
hard to
Terminator.
remember. We have shit on so
Yeah.
many things that you love.
I know. I was just like,
This was
No,
like
Terminator-
heads
Terminator
and,
was
heads
dog
and
shit.
tails above it. Yeah, that was trash. Because
Okay.
it you know, if Jammer has like a book of sins, like a 10 Commandments, like the number 1 is don't be boring. It was so boring.
Yeah.
But
But
this
this
wasn't
looks,
like-
I mean, again, when I saw the animation for this and everything, I was like, holy shit, this looks really cool. I want to watch
Yeah.
it.
It does.
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me of also the Blue Eye Samurai.
Spider-Verse.
A little
Oh.
bit.
Yeah.
I said the Blue Eye Samurai. What the fuck is this? The Facebook? No, Blue Eye Samurai.
The Blue-Eyed Samurai.
So yeah, I enjoyed it. I think you guys would like it. But let me
Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. I just have concerns because I have a love-hate relationship with Predator in that I liked some of the movies. I'm one of 5 people who liked Predators.
Which one is that?
That's the one from like 2009 or 2010.
Was that the one where they dropped them on the planet and hunted them?
Yeah.
That movie's
Yeah.
amazing. With
I love
Lawrence
that movie.
was
Fishburne?
really good.
I love that movie.
I remember seeing the trailer and being like Adrian Brody and then seeing him actually act. I'm like, oh, I'm
fucking
actually intimidated.
jacked.
I was intimidated by him. I was like, what?
Yeah, I need to watch that movie again. That movie was amazing. I love that movie.
Okay, I'm not the only one. I literally
you're not
haven't
the only
known
one.
anyone else in my life who has actually seen that
Nope.
movie.
I think that
So-
movie is genuinely. I love it. I thought it was great.
Okay, well, never mind that. But yeah, so I have that one. I didn't like the second movie. Which one was the second one? Predators? No, what's the second one called?
Predator 2.
Predator
Glover?
2. So yeah, Predator 2. Did not like that one.
That's fun.
I love Predators. I did not see The Predator, and I
Not good.
did not see Prey.
Prey's
which
really
I
good.
need to see. I know.
I
need
think
to
that
see
the
it.
only one that I just genuinely did not like was the newer one. Which Predators?
Predators? No, The Predator.
The Predator.
The one with Shane Black?
Nope.
Or directed by Shane Black?
Not a fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like somebody tried to get me to watch it, and there's this. I will tell you guys this joke, and that was it. So like, they're trying to escape this facility. They get out of the facility, and they're like, "Get to the choppers!" And they're the choppers, like the motorcycles. And this guy that was like had been wanting me to watch it. He's like looking at me, waiting for me to react. And I was like, "These are the jokes." He's like, "These are the jokes." I'm like, "Turn it off."
Did you? So you didn't actually watch it?
DNF.
DNF.
No, I was out. Like, because I think that was legit like 30 minutes into the movie, and so I was like, if this is as good as it gets, I'm done. I don't need to finish this.
Yeah, I just imagine at one point the helmet comes off. He's like, "You're still one ugly motherfucker."
Done.
Even though different characters.
That guy has not spoken to me since.
I hope that's true.
No, it is true.
And I hope this is this the reason? Is it really? No. How much of an asshole were you in that moment?
Yeah.
I was me. I was like the me right now. I was like, I'm done. He's like, really? Like, yeah, turn it off.
How long ago was this?
I don't know, like 5-6 years ago.
What the
fuck?
fuck?
I was still living in Germany.
Were you a good friend of his?
No. Like I was.
Okay.
I worked with his wife, and so she invited me over, and like he and I have a lot in common. Like we like these kinds of movies. We play video games with like a good cup of coffee, and he likes some rock music that I like. He actually introduced me to Queens of the Stone Age, and I was like, oh, this is some good music. But this was like a bridge too far. I was like, no, this is distracting.
This is enough. Did you kill him right there? Did you slit his throat?
I thought about it.
Sounds like you should have.
Thought about it. I did crop dust him.
But my most important question, as you mentioned, part of my 10 Commandments, prey or predator, killer of killers. Is it boring?
No.
Okay.
I think that the way that they did this story, breaking it up into like it's a mini anthology. It is exactly like a better version of What If. So I think it's interesting, and the emotional hooks that they put into these stories, I think, are pretty good, and sustain them for like. So I think it's 90 minutes, or it's less than 90 minutes.
Okay, so it's like short movie length. It is.
Yes.
It is One Piece movie 8 length.
Yeah, and what I like about it is like you get introduced to these characters. They have a story, and then you move on to the next story, and then at some point it bundles them all together. Whether or not you think, I think the efficacy of the wrap up is kind of like, but it's still good.
Honestly, as long as it's entertaining enough to keep me going, that's fine. You know me, I'm more forgiving of endings than you are. Like if it doesn't quite stick the landing, but I still had a great time up until that point, I'll just be like, you know what? I still had a good time, even if it didn't quite land.
Here's what makes it easy to recommend.
What is that face, Diego? What do you?
I did that because, like, for me, I'm one of my rules, and this is one of the things where, like, when I go see a movie, if I found at least like 5 to 10 minutes of enjoyment, I think it's a success.
There you go. I could see that.
Both of you.
It's a pretty low bar, but it's like, bro, I'm paying. Because nowadays I pay $5 to go to the movies with the movie theater that I have. It's a local theater on Tuesdays. It's $5.
And you're fucking NorCal. That place, it's like $5 just to like breathe air.
Yeah. So I go there on Tuesdays to watch my movies.
That's not. So. I wish I could do that. Just way more.
Tightwad Tuesdays.
Yeah.
No, that was legit. So the local theater growing up, they had Tightwad Tuesdays. That was the branding.
Here's what makes this easy to recommend. Because it's broken up into different stories, if you don't like the first story, you're done. Like, you could just be done. Like, you watched a Predator story, and then you could be done.
Or if you're Diego, and if you watch the story, and you're like, I got 3 minutes of enjoyment out of this. If we add up the 3 minutes per story, that's like at its 10 minutes of enjoyment, therefore worth it.
Yeah.
I see your point, Diego. I actually respect that because it actually allows you to experience the full breadth of things. For me, I just can't be bothered if that's all it is. But I
think it's also because, like I said, I mentioned this before to you. I think there's a certain element of like you kind of lose the magic when you get involved in making the magic. Because you are the one You're the one making the stories. You're the one doing this stuff, and so you're going to be super hypercritical of being like, "Oh, I would have done it this way. I would have done it that way." Whereas I'm just like, "Let's see what sort of piece of art you have to show me."
I think
And
you
my
think
bar,
too
my
highly of
level.
me. You think too
Well, I
high
mean,
of me. Because
bro,
literally
when I
what it is,
constantly see,
no, what
yeah,
it is,
what?
am I bored?
Right,
That's
but
it.
when I
That's my
constantly like,
bar. That's my bar, Diego. Am I bored?
you don't have anything on your board right now, but typically you have shit on the back of your whiteboard right there. And it's like ideas for things. And I notice it every so often whenever we get on. And you like have like shit that's like scribbled out and crossed off. And that's that level of like honing in on a story that you
I
have to do as a writer. That's what
I
I'm talking about.
I think you're wrong though, because that's like saying you, as an acoustic
Engineer.
engineer, I
Sure, yeah.
almost that's like saying you can't appreciate a building, whereas I feel like you
No,
appreciate them
I do.
more.
Yeah.
Exactly, because you
Especially when it's well
appreciate.
done.
But even when it's like just when it gets the job done, you're like, it's not pretty, but it's a good building.
Yeah.
I think you appreciate it more. I don't think you go in there with hypercritical. I think there's a phase of storyteller. If you're like new and you're learning things I think you become hypercritical. But then there's a phase once you've become so experienced, you just start to appreciating something for what it is as opposed to what you want it to be.
Okay. I just don't go into a building and go, I'm bored. Like, that's the thing. That's the
Well,
part where that's
it's
never
a
happened
fucking
before.
different. It's a different thing, Diego.
Yeah,
It's called a metaphor.
You would walk in and
Yeah.
go like, "This sounds terrible."
Yeah.
Sounds
And I will. And I've been in places like that. I'm like, holy shit, this place sounds horrible. We need to, no wonder we got called in to fix this.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Professionals here.
That's why I'm
Pulls on
here.
his overalls, his
No,
suspenders.
but like
Like
for
Ghostbusters
me, I
onesie.
think it's also like I have such a low bar of entertainment because like as long as I get to go and have my icy and popcorn, I just think it's a great fucking day.
No, I get it. I get what you're saying. For me,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. For me, my bar is. It's not that I tell stories and therefore it needs to hit a certain level. It's just that I want to not be bored. If I cannot be bored consistently throughout a story, it's a win. I can take it. And I can appreciate something for what it is and what it isn't. Of course, I have preferences, but I think I'm less critical than you. I think I used to be more critical, 15 years ago when we used to podcast together.
Mm-hmm.
I think you probably are stuck on
Don't do
that
that.
version
Don't
of
age
Jammer.
us like that. Don't age us like that. How dare you?
But I think 15 years ago, I was that person, and I'm not as much now.
Yeah.
I've gone through a character arc.
I will say I do specifically remember at one point because we were talking about Final Fantasy, and
Oh,
you
what did
were
I say?
so
What did I say?
You were like basically talking shit about
It sounds like me.
the new Final Fantasies because they weren't the old Final Fantasies, and you were so pretentious of like Final Fantasy 6 is the best one, and I fucking hate.
It's still the
I
best
can't remember
one.
what we're talking. No, I agree, but it's
Yeah.
like it was like the way you sounded like that time. Because it was back when we were doing podcasting with Dominic too.
Yeah.
Where we're like both Dom and I were just like, he sounds so pretentious right now talking about Final Fantasy. Like I agree with everything he's saying, but the way he's talking about it sounds so pompous and like
That I'm not going to agree.
Yeah, that I have to be like, no, I don't want to agree with this. Like this is.
You might be right, but also fuck you.
Yeah, it's like, why do you have to sound like you're fucking like this fucking like elitist like
Because I
level
was
of
pretentious.
mentality?
I was a
Yeah,
pretentious.
it's very
This is 15
pretentious.
years. This was 15 years ago. I was like 20 or 21. Yeah, I was pretentious.
Yeah. Yeah, we were in our 20s, bro. We were all like sitting here like, yeah, we know better. We know what's best.
We know what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I get that. I think you've clung on to that version of me, Diego. I think it's time to let him go.
No, I let
him go, Diego. It's okay, Diego.
I will
it's not
always
your fault.
remember that. I'm not
It's
saying
not your
that
fault.
it's you who you are. I'm just remembering
It's not your
that.
fault. It's not your fault.
Thanks.
It's not
Jammer.
your fault.
Stop trying
All
to
right.
Goodwill hunt me.
I'll do. Someday I'll get you. All right. Anything else, Diego? Do you have anything else you want to ask about Predator or Predator Killer of Killers?
No,
series?
I'm gonna be watching those on my because it's on Netflix, right? No, Hulu.
Hulu.
Yeah. So cool. So I'll be watching it on Hulu this coming week, and then we could talk about that. Elio on two. I may actually not be able to watch Elio this week because I will be going to. I leave for Colorado on Tuesday,
Oh, right.
so
Yeah.
so I'll be in Colorado Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I come back on Thursday. So I may not have time to go to the movies,
It's
but
fair. Totally get it.
yeah,
Totally get it. All right. Well, we definitely need to touch base and see if we can meet up at some point in Denver. So
yeah,
there you go.
definitely.
All righty. Well, anything else you want to say, Jonesy, about the show before we wrap up? Well, to you, dear listener / viewer, thank you so much for watching us today or listening to us. Jonesy, where can people find you?
At the Quasi Scott on most socials. And if you want to game with me, the Guyver V.
Diego.
Actually, there's no the. This isn't Facebook. Guyver V.
I'm like, what?
I don't know
Callback.
where that came from.
Yeah, I was like, that's interesting. Will of Diego on Blue Sky, and that's pretty much it. I don't really have any other social media.
And you can find me at AJ Cerner Writer on most platforms. I'm most active on Threads. But thank you all so much, and we will see you all next time. Adios.
Lasagna.
Face on you.